Hello players, I'm going to make a little video about kind of the season as a whole, 2025 kind of wrapping up here. This is for my play on the golf course, and just going to highlight a couple of rounds that happened towards the end of the year in the section championship, but just wanted to kind of preface with, just like what motivates me to even play in golf tournaments. Why do I do it? And I think about that a lot kind of in the off season or just when I'm reflecting on things. And I guess I would say that I play for a couple of reasons. Number one, I love to play golf, and particularly I love to play tournament golf. Just because of the feelings in a tournament, even if it's a small event where there's not a lot at stake, it still means a little bit more to me than like playing just a casual fun round for the most part. So, the tournaments that I play in over the course of a season the majority are composed of events through the Colorado PGA with a few others mixed in there. And, playing in those tournaments gives me the chance to play a lot of cool courses pretty much every week. We're playing somewhere different, so I get to play a lot of different courses, which is awesome. I get to play with my students. I get to play with other pros. There is money involved, prize money. It's not, the money isn't really that's not why I play in these events. The prize money is not life-changing. It's a nice bonus for sure, don't get me wrong. But I play for the satisfaction of playing well, when it counts in tournaments. I also like to play to give myself the chance to get into cool events, or to do cool things in golf, right? Like I have no dreams of, playing on tour or anything of that nature. I tried that a long time ago for a couple of years, and those days are behind me, but it doesn't mean I can't get into a cool event once in a while, or have a chance to play for something that's kind of big. So those are the things that I think about when I'm playing. It also is, playing in tournaments keeps me motivated to work on my own game. It keeps me motivated to go to the gym, all kinds of stuff. Keeps me practicing in the winter. And, I just enjoy it. I look forward to it. Mondays are typically tournament days over the course of the summer. And I just look forward to Mondays a lot. I teach Tuesday through Saturday. I practice on Sunday, and usually I'm competing on Mondays. And some weeks there's maybe, bigger events or different events, but that's kind of the nature of the summer for me. So anyway, 2025 was a really good year for me. I think I ended up finishing 4th on the Colorado PGA points list, which one of my goals every year is to finish in the top 10 on the points list. That gets you into bigger events. You get into the Colorado Open. You get to play in things like the Colorado Cup matches, or the Taylor Cup, which is a Ryder Cup that I got to go to this year. I got to go down to New Mexico and play for 4 days down there representing Colorado against the New Mexico pros. But it just gives you a chance to play in cool stuff. So the goal is always top 10 this year. That goal happened, which was great. And then the other kind of big ones for me, the opportunities, so to speak, to play in big events include things like the US Open qualifier. Right now, getting into the US Open would be unbelievable. And to be honest, even getting into the finals is really cool. Getting into the finals means you're getting on a plane and going somewhere, playing against great players for the chance to play in the US Open. And I was able to do that a couple years ago. I think I've missed the last 3, but the US Open qualifier is always one that's a little special to me because it's a chance to do something cool down the road. The Colorado Open is always a special one to me because it's the biggest event in Colorado that's not like the Korn Ferry Tour or maybe a BMW Championship or something like that. A chance to play against really good fields in a 4-day event. I got to play the Colorado Open this year. I didn't play particularly good, but I'll be playing it again next year. And then the last big one is getting into the National PGA Championship, which is also known as the PPC, PGA Professional Championship. And that tournament happens once a year. I did qualify for it 2 years ago. I was down in Frisco, Texas for that. That tournament is televised on the Golf Channel. There's 312 players in the field. And in order to get into that, you have to place in the top, this year at least, you had to place in the top 8 in the section championship. So the Colorado PGA Section Championship, 3-round event. It happened about a month ago or so at the time of this video. and the top 8 get to go to the nationals, which for this coming year, which is in April, the national championship is at Bandon Dunes, which is just an unbelievable place. I've been lucky to be there a couple times, but to be able to play a tournament there is something I haven't really done before, and that would be, you know, a huge thing to be able to go do. Plus, at the national championship, the top 25 get to go to the PGA and play in a major with the big boys. So that's a really good one to get into. So the first step in that process is playing well at the section championship. And in this video, I'm going to kind of recap, you know, the final 2 rounds and just talk about, you know, how they were going. I think there might be some lessons to be learned that maybe you can take with you, or if not, you might just find them interesting. I thought it was interesting. Of course, I'm biased, you know, I was there. But I'm going to go through rounds 2 and 3 here, kind of, you know, how I was playing. I'll go through the GPS of it and follow along if you would like. Okay, so we'll see if I can get this to go here. So here we are. So this tournament is at Flying Horse, which is down in Colorado Springs, Flying Horse North. I had never really played here until this year. It's a relatively new course. And, you know, I like the golf course. It's not one that hardly anybody has played. In this 3-round event, I think there were 110 players with the top 8 advancing, and there is a cut after 2 days. As I played out there in the practice round and in the first round, I would just say conditions were good. It was a little breezy. The golf course was playing kind of firm at times. And it's a very high elevation. It's like 7,600 feet, which is weird because it sits east of I-25 down there in Colorado Springs, but it's up in the hills. So the ball really does go a little further out there. And then if you followed videos in the past, you know that I have a tendency to sometimes hit it a little farther when I'm feeling nerves. And, you know, this tournament is one where I certainly would be feeling nerves because I really want to play good. So we'll fast forward through round 1. Round 1 was pretty, I have my scorecards over here. Round 1 was pretty, I would say, just a standard, solid, not great, not terrible round. I shot 73 the first round. I think that put me in about 15th place or so through round 1. Certainly, you know, didn't shoot myself out of it the first day. You know, had a nice chance to, you know, maybe do something over the next 2 days. So we'll start up with round 2. Round 2, I teed off early. I was one of the first groups out, and starting on number 10 in round 2. And the only thing I had, you know, kind of taken away from round 1 was that I had putted pretty well. The greens were very fast, super lightning. I putted pretty well, but I had hooked a few shots, particularly with irons. I hit my tee shots really good. But I had hooked a few approach shots. So I remember on the range warming up, I was sitting there trying to figure out a good thought or feel to reduce the, you know, chances of hitting big old hooks with my irons and even with my wedges. It was kind of had crept in there, and I was trying to figure out what to do about it. So I'm on the range. I've got a certain swing thought on the range and I'm hitting it really good. And we go out for round 2 and tee off on number 10, which is this big par 5. I hit a really good drive off the rip. Like I said, I've been hitting my tee shots good. Bombed away drive, and then I got up there. I had 226 left in, a little bit uphill, and I absolutely rope snap, wrist rolled a 6-iron, most violent left turn I could imagine, off the cart path towards the out of bounds fence, and you know, it's kind of a shock to the system. So second shot of the day. Big snap hook. I wasn't sure if I'd find it. I wasn't sure if it was in bounds. I hit a provisional, which was fine. But I went up there, searched around, and I did find my ball. Kind of almost up against the fence. I was in a bad lie in the native, and I kind of flubbed it. Still in the native, didn't get it over the path, and then chipped it over the green from there out of the native, and then made a nervy up and down. I think I had made like a 5-footer for bogey. So, not the start you'd want on a reachable par 5, of course. And the swing thought that I had been, you know, feeling on the range, I was not super confident in. So that was the start of round 2. For this video, you know, I'm going to blaze through a few holes, just kind of talking about the notable ones. The next hole was a short par 3. The tees were up. I hit a pretty good shot and 2-putted on that par 3. Next hole, kind of same story. Hit it down the middle, hit the green, and 2-putted for par. And then we get to the next hole, which is this kind of awkward par 4. I was a little bit fearful of a hook. I sent my opening tee shot. I think I hit a 4-iron. No, it was a 2-iron. I hit 2-iron into the right trees, possibly lost. Not sure where it was coming down. I hit a provisional with a 4-iron and snap hooked it. It's not on the shot pattern app here, but I snap hooked it left of the bunkers into the native, and decided to stop hitting shots at that point on that hole, and drove up and was luckily found my first one. I didn't have a shot at the green. I had to chip it out sideways, where I left myself like a pitching wedge in, and I hooked that to the left side of the green, and then made a good 2-putt from like 40 or 50 feet to save bogey. So, 4 holes in, couple over par, things aren't going great, not really confident in my swing. Go to the next hole, hit it down the middle, and then from there I snap hooked a pitching wedge almost into the water. You'll notice a theme here. Things are hooky, and that's not a good miss, especially on an approach. Hitting it hot and left and long is not good. I was down by the water on this hole, and I hit a really good flop shot to like 15 feet and ground out a par. I made the putt, so kind of grinding, hooking it and grinding. We get to the next hole, it's par 3, downhill big time, and I hit an 8-iron that was just awful. Big hole, big huge snap hook, murdered, long left. You can see down here by the path, almost in the native there. I think I had 50 yards, 40 yards still left in, and flubbed that one onto the green and had to make it, kind of a nasty 2-putt from like 40 feet just to save bogey. So things not going well to start. Next hole, par 4, hit a little mini snap hook, nothing bad. Just I wouldn't even call it a hook. Just pulled it up the left side, hit it on the green, and 2-putted there. And then we go to 17. Pretty standard par on 17, and then go to 18, which is a kind of a tight par 5, but I hammered a drive down the middle. Driver and tee shots generally were still feeling good. Finally hit a non-hook just right of the hole and got it up and down for birdie. So making the turn at 2 over par, day 2, 3 over for the tournament. And, not things aren't going quite the way I want. I definitely really haven't hit a good iron shot yet on this round. And then we go to 1, make the turn to 1. So number 1, this one was just a bummer. It's mega downhill. It's 320 yards to this fairway bunker, a little downwind. I hit a 5-iron off the tee, thinking it was right down the middle, and it just must have hit something in the fairway. It kicked hard. I didn't see it down, but I got up there and it had gotten all the way to the bunker. I'm in the back of the bunker with a terrible lie, kind of in a rake mark. I had this shot to the back of the green here, and I decided to aim right and not take on the bunker in front of the green, and that came out. I flubbed it a little bit, but I would say a pretty good shot from that like downslope bad lie in the bunker. So I'm just on like the very front edge of the green. And like I said, greens are spicy. This green kind of goes up and over, and I just sent it, murdered it, hammered it all the way over the green, off the green, into the rough. First putt into the rough. Had to go back to the cart, got my wedge. Got up there, the lie was not very good. I kind of flubbed my chip to like 15 feet and missed it to walk off with a double, which was, not what you want. So now I was probably a little rattled on the next hole. I ended up hitting my first shot. This is my only real terrible tee shot. I mean, I hit a couple in the trees over the course of the days, but this was my only real terrible tee shot. I got up and just hit a giant toe-y, hooky mini driver way left, probably gone, didn't know, hit a provisional and fixed it up too much and blew that one way to the right, possibly lost as well. And jumped in the cart, went up and looked for my first one on the left, couldn't find it, it was gone. Went over to my one on the right, found it in the native behind some trees, still far in. I had like 190 left, and I had to hit like a big, huge cut around these trees out of the native, and I actually pulled it off really good. I hit a really good shot from there to the back of the green and rolled it down to about 6 feet and made a nervy putt for double. So at this point in the round, I wasn't really keeping track, but I knew things were going bad, and I remember we were waiting on the next tee box, and I was kind of thinking, like, where am I at? I don't usually do that, but am I missing the cut here? What's going on? So I figured I was 7 over par at this point for the tournament, 6 over on the round, and obviously not good, but even worse, just had no concept of where my golf ball was going to go. I hadn't found a thought yet. Nothing was working. I stood on this tee box with a 9-iron and just didn't even know what to think. It's a little easy par 3. I mean, it's a 9-iron, and I had like 1,400 swing thoughts in my head, and I just laid the sod over it. It like landed 50 yards short of the green and kind of bounced up to near the front edge, where I hit a pretty okay chip, not great, to like 12 feet, but I made it. So I'm kind of grinding with the putter on this round. Go to the next hole, par 4, hit my tee shot a little bit right. It wasn't that bad of a shot. It just kind of kicked right over the path in the native. I figured I would find that I didn't hit a provisional. Got up there, it was in the native, and I did have an opening. And if you, one thing that I am actually good at, no matter what, is hitting shots out of the native. King of the native. I stuffed that one to maybe 10 feet and made it for birdie. So first glimmer of hope. I'm thinking maybe I should just aim for the native. Just kidding. Next hole is a par 5. It's reachable. I hit a kind of a mediocre tee shot. I was just kicked through this bunker. I was on the top lip of the bunker. I had a yardage that I could go for it. I had like 200 yards, 210 maybe. Not a very good lie. I hit it in the front bunker. Didn't get it up and down. Made a par there, and then continuing my trend of snap hooks, got to the next par 3 and missed this one. I was aiming center of the green, pins back left, and I hit it. I missed my target by 40 yards, long left, dead. I hit an unbelievable pitch here, like a super high flop shot that landed in the rough, trickled onto the green to like 3 or 4 feet, and then missed it for a bummer of a bogey. It was a waste of a good short game shot. So we walk off here. We got 3 holes left to go today. I'm at 7 over, and I'm wondering, I think the cut's going to be like a 9 over. So I'm fighting for my life here just to make the cut, probably, especially since I have no idea where the ball is going. Now, the next hole, I chose a different strategy. I decided, typically I've been hitting like 2-iron here or hybrid and leaving myself 120, 130, but I had no confidence in that shot. Like, I didn't want to be 130 out because I have been rope hooking everything. So I decided to just rip driver up there as far as I could so I have shorter range in. And driver had been nails all day, which is exactly what I did. I roasted a driver down the middle. I had 63 yards, hit a pretty mediocre 60-yard shot to like 30 feet, but I made it for birdie. So this is where things are going to start to turn around here. Next hole, par 5, once again, driver hammered down the middle. And this is where I finally kind of found a thought. I'm sitting there going, I've hit every single iron shot left. I've got 200 yards left. Downwind, downhill. I'm going to hit an 8-iron. And I decided to change my swing thought for the 17th time today. I decided to open the face a little at setup and then try to hit it in the lake to the right. Just see if you can do it. Just try to hit it in the lake. It's like, instead of trying to cut it or whatever, just try to push, fade, block it out into the lake because you haven't missed a shot right all day. And I hit a pretty good one. It still drew, but it started right and drew to the left side of the green, and I had a 30-footer for eagle, which I 2-putted, and actually I hit that one pretty solid. I actually liked that shot, and did the same on the next hole. Hit one down the middle on 9, my last hole of the day. Had just a sand wedge in. I did the same thing. I set up, pointed the club face a little right, tried to hit it on the basically right of the bunkers, and hit it still left of the hole, but it was on the green. I had like 20 feet, and I made that for birdie. So finish round 2, birdie the last 3 holes to shoot 75. Not a great score, but I would say a really scrappy 75. I mean, I was hitting it all over the place. I was making putts from everywhere, and I did birdie the last 3 to get in there at 75. So that's where we're at going into round 3 here. Let me pause all this. All right. So as one of the early groups of the day on round 2, the plan was to have some lunch. And I was hoping to maybe go back to the course and kind of hit some balls on the range and try to work out what was going on with my iron shots. But there ended up being a huge thunderstorm, storms all afternoon, nothing really to do. I couldn't go back out. It was windy and lightning, and the groups in the afternoon had a heck of a day trying to finish their rounds off. So as I was sitting there, kind of watching the scoreboard, I'm at +4 now. And, as the day goes on, we're looking at the numbers. I'm rooming with my buddy Scott. in the hotel, we're talking about our rounds and this, that, and the other. And, you know, as the day kind of wore down or kind of ended up, I saw that it looked like the 8th spot was at 2 under and I'm at 4 over. And, you know, I'd made the cut. I'm in like 30th place. I had dropped quite a bit due to my second round. But typically in these events in the past, usually that number to get in doesn't really change the last day, whether it's because the course plays a little harder, the greens firm up, the pin positions get tougher, players get nervous as they're coming down the stretch. So in my mind, I'm sitting there going, well, you know, 2 under is probably going to be the number to get in. I'm at 4 over. You know, can I shoot a 66, you know, or so, somewhere around there on day 3? And I'm thinking about the golf course and I'm thinking about my strategy, trying to decide if I'm going to like just go super aggressive off the tee maybe and just try to hit driver everywhere in an effort to make a million birdies or not. And as I thought about it, this golf course had 4 par 5s that are all very reachable. Like, I mean, 8 irons and 9 irons and wedges into these par 5s, plus a par 4 that was drivable for me. So in my head, I had 5 kind of really good birdie opportunities, and then a lot of the other holes are just wedges in if you can hit the fairway. So I decided not to like send it everywhere, because like just one bad one, like if you're trying to hit driver into a real narrow spot or trying to drive a green that's surrounded by trouble, like just one bad drive leads to a double and your chances of shooting that 66 kind of go away. So I decided to kind of play the same strategy off the tee. I knew that my tee shots were all feeling good. I knew I was putting good. I had done my stats on the day. Putter was working. I knew that if I could just find a way to hit some greens and get the irons on the, just hit greens with irons, I knew I would have a lot of opportunities to make birdies, particularly on those 5 holes, and then maybe sneak a couple more in there. So that was, I guess the mentality was I didn't care if I shot like 69 or 70 or even 78. Like those were all the same to me. It was kind of shoot 66 or bust. So I just knew that I was going to be fairly aggressive, but not like over the top. I was definitely, you know, going to stick to the same strategy off the tee and just hope I could find a thought for my irons, which I was going to just plan on going with the same one that I finished off the day before. So that was where we stood after day 2, and let's go into day 3. All right, so here we are, day 3. So I am the first group of the day off. In the middle of the pack, I'm in 30th place. First group of the day teeing off on number 1 once again. I hit a couple balls on the range. I was thinking the same thoughts as the day before. Things were going straight. I didn't really spend too much time on the range. I kind of left the range early because I was hitting it good, and I just didn't want to like, you know, work my way into some weird thought or whatever. So ended up leaving the range kind of early and putting around a little bit around the clubhouse before we teed off. So we go to number 1. Same deal. I hit 5 iron. This time it's early. It's no wind. I hit 5 iron trying to stay short of this bunker, and it still got all the way down there. It was luckily right enough to not go in there. But I had 100 yards in. I semi-chunked a lob wedge. It wasn't the best shot, but it was on line. It wasn't a hook. And ended up like 35 feet away from the hole, where I hit a terrible first putt. I totally misread it, the direction, and left myself about 8 feet for par, which I lipped in on the last roll. So a little shaky little putting start, but off we're off. We're even through 1. We're off to the races. We go to number 2, hammered a mini driver down the middle. I had 116. I hit a sand wedge, and I stuffed this one, semi-stuffed it. I hit it to like 8 feet and made it for birdie. Let's go. Go to the next hole, par 3. I think it was an 8 iron. I was implementing my thought, you know, open the face, try to miss it right at the green, and I stuffed it. I hit it to like 4 feet, maybe 3 feet. Best iron shot I'd hit in a long time, and got up there and made that. So, you know, good start. Next hole, I stone cold topped my tee shot. Like, I almost missed it, driver. I had a long ways in. I had 175 in because my tee shot only went like 240. But I hit another really good approach. Hit it to like 15 feet with a 9 iron. So shots are going where I'm looking. I missed that putt, but I'm kind of excited because like I know the putter's working. I know my tee shots are working, and I think I finally got a good feel for the irons. So we're thinking like today could be a good day. Next hole's par 5. Ripped one down the middle. This one I tried it once again. Same idea. I was had a 9 iron. No wait. 8-iron, sorry. Had an 8-iron, I'm looking at the flag, I'm aiming my club right, I'm swinging it to the right. And this one actually did go right and a little long. I think it was a little too much club, which might get back to that later. So from 191, I hit 8-iron, long right, and that was dead. Straight downhill, down slope. Really tough pitch. I hit a really good shot to like 20 feet. It was just so fast down the hill, I missed it. So that was a missed opportunity there. Made a bogey, or not a bogey, made a par. Felt a little like a bogey just because it was, you know, you got an 8-iron into a par 5 and you walk away with par. But that's okay. Next hole. I had snap hooked it here the day before. This one, I almost jarred it off the tee. I think my ball mark was like 6 inches from the cup. It rolled out maybe 15 feet past the hole. I missed that putt. But once again, irons are going where I'm looking. I'm excited. Go to the next hole. I hit a tee shot, bounced left over the path, no big deal. In the native, you know, I'm not worried about it because I'm good out of the native. I hit it on the green, 2 putted for par. Next hole's a par 5, hit it down the middle, just hammered it. Hit another pretty good approach shot, just short of the green. I had kind of a lot of mounding and stuff to deal with. I had probably 40 feet, rolled that one 10 feet past and made it. Made the comebacker for birdie. So 3 under now, go to 9, hammer it down the middle, stuff another one, hit it to like 15 feet, lip it out, and make the turn at 3 under. So, and you know, I'm feeling good, not just because I shot 3 under, but I'm just feeling good because the ball is going where I'm looking and you know, going where I want, and I'm hitting my irons good. So, you know, with 9 to go, I know that, you know, I've done what I need to do on the front 9. We need to just keep it going. So I go to 10, par 5, hammer it down the middle. Slight overdraw here, wasn't nearly as violent. This was the hole I led off with on round 2 and had snap hooked it over by the fence. And this one, I just missed it left of the green in this bunker. I had a long bunker shot, but the flag was kind of in a nice little bowl area. So I hit a really good long bunker shot, got it over the edge of the bowl, rolled it down to like 12 feet and made it for birdie. 4 under. Next hole was playing short again, little par 3, almost dunked it again, landed it probably a foot from the hole. It spun about 7 feet left when it landed, and I made that for birdie. So 5 under through 11. Guy in my group, you know, I had one of my playing partners started saying some stuff, and he was very optimistic, cheering me on. He said, like, somebody wants to go to Bandon, and I had to kind of calm him down. I said, no offense, my man, I appreciate it, but like, I am not, let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? I want to hit a good one down number 12. I don't want to be thinking about Bandon. I'm thinking about hitting a good shot on my next one. I'm really trying to stay in the present, and I think he kind of got the picture. I kind of felt bad about that, but whatever. Next hole, hit it down the right side, in the right rough, hit a good approach, missed another 20-footer for par, or for birdie, made par. And then we get to this next hole. This hole had given me fits, this dogleg right. I had day 1, I hit it right and then left. Day 2, I hit it right and then left with my provisional. So day 3, I just elected to lay way back. I hit a 5-iron, which still went plenty far, but it was in the fairway. And then this shot, I chunked it a little bit. It was right on target. It was right line. It landed just on the front edge of the green and then spun off this false front kind of halfway down this hill. I had like a really nippy little nervy pitch up this false front to a flag right above the top of the false front. You can picture like Vista 3 if you're familiar with Omni. And I hit this beautiful low spinner that landed like on the front fringe, 1 kick up, hard stop, spun to like a foot. Just a thing. It was a really nervy little pitch, and I hit it so good. I was so thrilled. Walked up there and tapped it in for par. So we're still cruising along. We're still 5 under. Go to the next hole, hit it down the middle off the tee. Hit my approach shot just a tiny bit long. It kind of spun off the back left, and I had this little lie here. I was probably 3 yards off the green, and it's like the grass in this area, it was like fairway cut, but it was real desiccated. It was real bumpy, kind of soggy, kind of muddy, and my ball was sitting kind of down a little bit. So I had a choice of whether to like try to chip it off of that, which I could just see myself, you know, chunking it or flubbing it, or putting it, in which case you have to putt it through all that bumpiness. So I'm weighing my options there. I decided to putt it, and it came out just perfect. It kind of kicked and bounced through that bumpy stuff and rolled up to like 2 inches. And so I tapped it in. So that was a good save there. Go to the next hole, par 3. Thought I hit a really good tee shot. I think it landed on the very front of the green here, and then spun a little bit off the green, kind of like the previous, like 2 holes ago. And same kind of shot, little up and over, false fronty kind of thing. Hit another really nasty, good little spinny low chip to maybe 2.5, 3 feet. And I ended up missing that one. Unfortunately, I had it breaking left to right. I had my ball aimed like left center. I definitely pulled it a hair. I could feel it in my stroke. I definitely pulled it a hair, but it also broke a little bit left. So when I hit it, I still thought, I was like, oh, pulled it, but still fine. And then it kind of wiggled left instead of wiggling right. And so I ended up lipping that one out for just a bummer of a bogey late in the round. You know, this is hole 15. I had it 5 under. Now we're back to 4 with 3 to go. So that was a real gut punch. But you know, I know I've got a couple holes left. I know I've got wedge in and a drivable par 4 and a reachable par 5. So I'm still, you know, going full gas here. Next tee shot, hit it down the middle. Hit a really good approach to 15 feet or so. Lipped it out. Didn't make it. Still okay though. Go to 17, uphill par 4, drivable. I hit mini driver to the fringe. Another one where I was in between chipping and putting, and I decided to putt it, but this one did get caught up pretty bad in the fringe, and it kind of dribbled up there like 8 feet short. So I've got 8 feet for birdie. This is the 17th hole, and I made it. Boom, birdie there. So I'm back to 5 under with going into 18, which is a reachable par 5 if you hit a good tee shot. Now this tee shot's kind of intimidating. It's narrow, but I just Sunday bested one. Dead center of the fairway and hammered. I had 149 in, and the flag is sitting there back center with a big tear right in front of the flag. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what I need. I don't know what I know I'm in good shape. I know I need a birdie, maybe an eagle, but I'm first group out. I'm not paying attention. I haven't looked at the leaderboard all day. I hit pitching wedge. I thought I'd hit it really good when it landed 20 feet short of the hole, and instead of kind of staying there, it spun back down this tier. So I ended up having like 50 feet over a tier with a lot of break to it. Kind of a tricky putt, probably broke 10 feet. And I rolled it up there to 3 feet, pretty good putt. And then waited for my group to hole out, and then got up there and made a 3-footer to finish off the round with a birdie and shoot a 66 to go from being 7 over halfway through round 2 to get it all the way to 2 under and maybe have a chance. So very, very satisfying round. Very, very satisfying round. I'm gonna turn off the shot pattern here. So I just finished up. Now it's a chance to look at the scoreboard, leaderboard, stuff like that. I'm the first, like I said, I was first group out. I was the leader in the clubhouse, but all the guys that were ahead of me were coming in, in the last few groups. So I had maybe a 2-hour wait. Came out and watched the last few groups come in, and there's a little confusion on the mobile scoring app. It looked, as the last group finished, it looked like I was going to be in 9th, but one of the scores was incorrect on the mobile scoring, and it turned out that there was another player tied with me at 2 under, and we were tied for 8th place. So we were going to play off for the last and final spot to go to the national championship. Unfortunately, we had a huge weather delay. I think I was the first group out. I teed off at like 9. I was done at 1 o'clock or so. The final groups finished at like 3 o'clock, and then we had like a 2-hour weather delay for this playoff. So we're waiting around a long time. I don't think we teed off until 5:15 p.m. But during that weather delay, there was some talk about which holes we were going to go to, depending on the. I wasn't sure where we were going, to be honest, until like the last minute. We ended up playing off on the 5th hole, which is a par 5. Earlier, I had hit it long right and been dead. In the playoff, I was up first. I hit it down the middle. My opponent hit it down the middle. We both go up there. He's first to play. He hits it to the very front edge of the green, maybe 2 yards off the front, 30 feet from the hole, basic uphill, could chip, could putt it. and I dumped mine. I barely hit my 9-iron into the greenside bunker and didn't hit a great bunker shot. I think I hit my bunker shot, kind of came out heavy because of wet sand from the rain that had happened, and I ended up giving that one a good run, but he got his up and down for birdie, and I didn't make mine. I made my par comebacker, but to put a little pressure on him, but he only had 2 feet for birdie, and he made it. So he gets the last spot. I get the first alternate spot. So what does that mean? I didn't really know at the time, but I know what it means now. Really quickly, what it means is that the national championship, the tournament at Bandon Dunes, isn't until April like 29th or something. It's end of April. If anybody from Colorado withdraws between now and roughly the first week of April, if they withdraw, that spot will go to me. Once that first week of April kind of window happens, any further withdrawals in the field will get their alternates from the national pool of alternates, in which case this year, Colorado has the 6th alternate spot nationally, and they shuffle that every year. Some years, California has one, some years California has the last one. So there's 41 sections, and in this year's shuffle, Colorado has the 6th alternate. So I'm the 6th alternate, in that last 3-week period before the tournament, to get into the field. And what they do is they let the top 10 alternates on the list schedule practice rounds, schedule hotels, or book accommodations, schedule practice rounds, and go with the intention of competing. The people I've talked to at the national office say that typically 10 to 20 players off that list get into the tournament. I'm in the 6th spot. No guarantees, of course, but I'm hoping. I'm planning on going. I'm planning on going to Bandon. I'm definitely playing practice rounds, and I'm hoping to get in. And if I don't, so be it. But I guess the key takeaways for me from this event were just, number one, you never know when you're out of it. That's the first thing. You never know when, you might find a thought or a feel that can get things turned around if you're having a bad tournament round or a bad round of golf. Instead of throwing in the towel and giving up on it, just keep fighting, keep trying, keep grinding, I think about some of the putts in round 2 for, grinding over 7-footers for double, and, not quitting, because all those putts that went in, even in the middle of a bad ball striking round in round 2, set the table for the chance to still have a shot going into round 3, which, ended up happening. I wasn't planning on shooting that. I knew it was possible. But sometimes that's all it takes, just knowing that, things are still within reach, even if it sometimes feels like they're not. If you'd have told me middle of round 2, when I'm hitting it all over the place, that I would be in a playoff, 36 hours later, I wouldn't have believed you, really, but I kind of would have, because I knew that if I could just figure out this one thing, everything else could fall into place. So that was the last big event of the year for me. I had a couple other ones to finish out the year. I think I've got a couple more small ones still this season, but generally speaking, it's been a good season. The section championship was exciting for me, for sure. It had its ups and downs, or downs and ups, I guess you could say. And I'm excited to prepare for Bandon Dunes in April, and fingers crossed, I end up getting into the field. So with that said, that's probably the last update I'll do for a while, but I might do a little series on what it means to go to Bandon Dunes for the PPC, because that is a really cool venue and a really cool course, and top 25 there get to go to the PGA. So I'll probably do a little something for that as well.